Welcome back to the Bluechip Breakdown, Vols fans. I'm your host, Bull. In today's video, we're going to touch on a lot of different things. A lot of things happened in the past 24 hours. We've got to get to all of it. A whole lot of good news and a lot of good tidbits on some things that, we've kind of been asking for, and we're starting to see it out of this staff. So stay tuned to the very end because there's going to be a lot of information in this one. So first thing does not directly affect our volunteers, but it is good news for us because one of our rivals in the UGA Bulldogs is about to lose their star quarterback in Dylan Raiola. So he's the #1 quarterback in the 2024 class. I believe he's still #1 in the entire country, just as far as an overall player on some sites. On some sites, they may have some other people, but he's really, really good. Now, for those of you who have followed this channel closely, you know that Dylan is a guy that I've covered very closely in working with Buford High School, him and, a host of other 5-star players, but he's the real deal. He's a very, very good quarterback. And the latest news is he is going to be visiting the Cornhuskers this weekend. And I think that they've got a good chance to be able to flip him. Now, that's not necessarily inside information. I'm just talking about what is out there, but that's one to keep a close eye out on. As y'all know, we hate Georgia around here, so that's music to our ears. Anything to take a shot at them, we're always going to take it. All right, now getting to our volunteers, okay? Kamal Haden tweeted out, I want to say it was yesterday or the day before. I think he was tweeting to Jaylen Wright, actually, and he was saying that he has one more year. So it stirred up a whole lot of confusion amongst volunteer fans, but we were able to confirm through Austin Price and, VolQuest that Kamal Haden does not have any more eligibility left. So that is a rumor. If you hear about it, then just know that he will not be back, unfortunately, for our volunteers. That would have been huge. I mean, we just made a couple of videos talking about our secondary and the losses to it. I think that, obviously having Kamal Haden back as our best cover guy would have been huge, but unfortunately, that's not true. Also, speaking of Jaylen Wright, okay, he is opting out of the Citrus Bowl. Him and Jabari Small have both opted out of the game. Neither one of them will be playing, so our starting running backs are going to be Dylan Sampson and Cam Seldon. Okay, so those are two very, very good running backs. Obviously, we all know about Dylan Sampson. Didn't get to see a whole lot of Cam this season, but it's time. Okay, it's time to see some of these younger guys, and I fully expect for them to show out. Especially as some of these younger guys who just want to, put on the show. Put on a show for their family. For these fans, and I think that's what these bowl games really should be all about. Let's not have some guys that are going to be out there tiptoeing and could potentially mess up their futures. You know what I'm saying? Let's get some guys out there who are just going to be playing full speed, and I think that is a good thing for this team. We've got 2 running backs that could potentially be NFL draft picks, and then we've got 2 young guys. We're going to see the future of our backfield starting out in a couple of weeks. Really looking forward to that. All right, and in some more big news, Gerald Mincey will be returning to our volunteers next season. That's really, really big news, obviously, coming off of, the whole thing that we had happen last week, missing out on a guy that we really wanted at offensive tackle to come in as a true freshman. Now we know that we're going to have our veteran back at right tackle. And, Mincey is a guy that whenever he does play, he plays well, and especially when he's healthy. He was dealing with some injuries towards the end of last season. I'm really looking forward to him coming back. And, it sounds like he signed a deal with the Vol Club. And, a lot of us were just wondering what's going on with the NIL money. I think that's money well spent to get back a guy that knows this system very well and understands what is expected from him and of him. Obviously, he's going to be blocking for what we believe is going to be a future Heisman Trophy winner in Nico Iamaleava. That is really, really great news, and we should all be celebrating that. Now, with Gerald Mincey back, we know that John Campbell will also be coming back. So we've got our starting tackles on both sides, okay? Don't really know if Spraggins is going to be coming back, but we're leaning towards he probably will. And the same thing for Cooper Mays. Once we get those 2 in, the offensive line is looking really, really good. As far as who will be playing at left guard, though, okay, that is a big question mark. It could be Andre Carrick, okay, who played some last season. And, he ended up kind of getting hurt towards the end of the season. I think that he was pretty serviceable at that position. We've also got Jackson Lampley, who could slide over and play left guard if he does decide to come back for one more season. And, I think that maybe Dame Davis could even play there if we really needed him to. He's kind of played everywhere on this offensive line. And then, too, we've got some freshmen, a guy like Aiden Bustle, who I was really big on coming out of high school. I think that he could plug in there. It just all depends on how much better he's got since last season. Now, he did not play much, if at all, for Tennessee last year, but once he gets up to speed, once he gets his size and strength up, I think he's going to be an absolute mauler on this offensive line. So those are just some of the guys that could possibly plug in. Somebody else that could also plug in at that left guard spot is Jayden Farmer. So he is an offensive lineman from Florida. He is in the transfer portal, and he is a guy that Tennessee has been in contact with recently. So if we could somehow get him, I mean, we all know we probably do need one more offensive lineman. Feels good to know that we've got our 2 starting tackles back, but we probably do need a little bit more help on the interior of that offensive line. Just depending on how things kind of shape up in the offseason, it would be great to get a guy with 2 more years left that he could play for this football team if he does choose us. Obviously, I think we're still kind of early in that process, so we'll see how all that plays out. But Jayden Farmer is a guy for us to keep a close eye out on. And we also got some more big news on the defensive side of the football, and Bryson E will be returning next season for Tennessee. We kind of expected for him to, but it's good to know that that is official, that's set in stone. Just waiting on Big O and on Elijah Simmons and obviously Omar Norman Lott, okay? That would solidify our tackle position at least for next season. That gives us 2 deep guys that we can rotate in, and obviously we've got David Hobbs and a whole host of other football players that are really good at that tackle position that should continue to improve in the offseason. Right now we look like a much more complete football team, and it does look like the coaches do know what they're doing and the sky's not falling. But we've got some more news. All right, so last night Coach Heupel and the tight ends coach met with Jordan Dingle. That's the tight end from Kentucky. He's 6'4", about 240 pounds. He's a guy that I know a lot of y'all have been asking about, and obviously tight end being a position of such need, it's good to know that we are out there scouting and, courting these young men to try to make sure that we can get them up to Knoxville. Holden Stays is a guy who visited over the weekend. Sounds like that visit went well for those of y'all who haven't heard about it. And he's going to be visiting, I believe, Washington and Oklahoma throughout this week, and he will make a decision at the end of the week. Going to be very, interesting and curious to see where he decides to go, okay? I think that Tennessee probably would fit his skill set the best. I haven't really seen Washington using their tight ends much in their system. And Oklahoma, I haven't really seen much of them play, but, they probably use their tight ends pretty good. But you would have to anticipate that he wants to come and play in a very high-powered offense with Nico Iamaleava. And obviously, with him hearing all the pieces that are coming back on this offense, I think that would, bode well for Tennessee's chances. Hopefully, if it comes down to a bidding war, hopefully we are ready to, pay him whatever he wants. I think that he's a really solid player. I've watched more of his film, and, I really like his effort. I love the way that he blocks, and he runs some good routes. He's got a good burst to his game. He's a guy that's going to make some tough catches as well. So I really like his upside, and I believe that we'll be able to get him for another couple of years if he does decide to come to Tennessee. Now, Bauer Sharp is the other tight end that we've been targeting. He's from southeastern Louisiana, I want to say. He's 6'5", 245 pounds, so he's got good size. I haven't seen much of his film yet, but, I know that if the staff is targeting him, then he is going to, he's going to be a good football player. He's going to be coming up on a visit this weekend to Knoxville, so hopefully that can be a guy that we can go ahead and get in the boat. Maybe kind of early. I'm not quite sure what other teams are in on him at this point, but it does sound like, again, at least we are trying to target the guys that we need. And, I'd be happy if we could get all 3 of these guys. I think that would be the best case scenario. Probably won't be able to get 3. Probably is going to come down to 1, maybe 2 of them. And, could be a situation where it's first come, first serve. We'll see how everything plays out. Tennessee also had a wide receiver on campus Monday in Chris Brazil. I believe I'm saying his name right. He is a 6'5", 195 pound receiver from Tulane. Last season, he had 44 catches for 711 yards and 5 touchdowns. Now, I've watched film on him. He's a tall, long, rangy guy, and he is explosive. He fights for the football. Okay, he's really, really tough. He's very physical. He's not a guy that I would think is going to be dropping passes in any key situations. I've seen several games, and again, tough catches. In critical situations, he is making catches. I saw in one game they went to him 3 straight times, and it was no secret where the ball was going. He's just pretty much unstoppable. I think he'll be great in this offense. Now, that does kind of bring up the question to me, if he does sign, is that going to make a guy like Dante Thornton kind of shy away? Is he going to, go somewhere else? Is he going to try to enter back into the portal? I don't know if he even can. Or, is he just going to be in a competition, in a, position battle with Chris? If Chris does decide to come here, I'm sure he's got a lot of offers because he is a stud. Very, very impressed with him. He's one of those guys that he's explosive when he walks, okay? You can tell that he can jump out of the gym. Actually puts me in the mind a lot of Justin Hunter, from back in the day. For those of y'all who know who I'm talking about, he's like one of those types of players, throw it up, jump ball guy, he high points footballs really, really well. I'm very impressed with him, and I'm very, very happy that the staff is going out and targeting a guy like that. Now, I did say that we needed a playmaker on the outside. Obviously, they got that too. I was a little bit upset about not getting Juice Wells, but I did say it does not have to be Juice Wells. Get somebody. Show me something. They're showing me a whole lot right now. The staff is busy. They're doing a phenomenal job, but that's not it. All right, so also on Monday, Rodney Gardner and Tim Banks visited Dominic McKinley. Okay, so he is a 5-star defensive lineman, probably going to be playing defensive tackle. That's a huge position of need. We talked about that in the 2024 class. So he is committed to Texas A&M at the moment, but obviously, with the coaching change, they've lost a lot of players, current players, and guys in the 2024 class. And this is a guy that everyone is trying to get in on. I'm going to go through the list of all the visitors that he has coming in just this week. So we talked about us on Monday. Also, some coaches from Syracuse are going to be sitting down with him on Monday. These are in-home visits. On Tuesday, he's going to be visiting with Texas A&M staff. Wednesday, he's going to be visiting with LSU. Brian Kelly and his staff is actually coming down to visit with this young man. Thursday, Oklahoma, Brent Venables is going down and visiting with this young man and other staff members. And then Friday, he's got Texas. Sark is going to be coming down, and he's a guy that probably will not decide until February. So still very early in the process. I'm sure that some of y'all probably wonder, well, how come Hypo isn't there? Well, he can't be two places at once. And, he's got to make sure that we can get these tight ends. That is the number one deal. And that's what he's doing right now out in Kentucky. And, again, the staff is doing a phenomenal job. They're being busy. They're spending this NIL money. You got to love it, okay? You got to love what we're seeing. And there's plenty more to come. Expecting maybe to lose a couple more players in that transfer portal, okay? And I'm also expecting to hear about us targeting a few more players. That's what we've got for now, but we will get back to you as soon as we get some more information. Thank y'all as always for tuning into this channel. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share with friends, family, and other volunteer fans. We'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks. Peace.